You know, it's, so at Central Park Media, they were like, you got to look into this. I'm like, well, what do you mean? They're like, there's this convention coming up in LA. We're sending you out there for the, you know, and they sent me to an adult entertainment convention to meet porn star women to see if they would be in anime. It was hilarious. And I'm like, really? Really? And they're like, yeah. And I'm married, so I'm like, honey, listen. I'm like, I got this work thing. I got to go to LA for like a week. And I'm just going to go meet some porn stars. And it's, you know. And she's like, what? I'm like, well, no. And it was weird because, you know, I went out there to this thing, and we were out there for like a week, and it was in June. The weather was beautiful. It was great. And, you know, and I had to go talk to these women. And, you know, they're kind of doing their act, their thing, you know, and they're at their booth, and they're, hi. And you walk up to them, and I'm like, hi, listen, I give them a card or whatever, and instantly they'd be like, oh, okay, how much? What is this? What are we doing? And they're like cold, hard business women, you know? And they talk about like, you know, will I be able to sell some of my products based on this? You know, okay, how much, is there a percentage return? You know, what are the residuals on this? I mean, cold, hard business women. It was amazing. But that was like this weird experience. And again, you know, an industry that I never intended on getting into, you know, ended up doing things like that. Coming to conventions like this is great. This is so much fun for me. And this is another thing that kind of caught me by surprise. And I really kind of started to kind of hit the convention wave for myself at the first Anime Boston. Because at CPM, sometimes they could be a little tight with the vacation time, okay? So I came up with a plan to get myself free vacations to last out the year. So what I did is I came up with an idea to do this. Now they do this at Anime Expo, but I want you to know, I came up with this first. And I said, we're going to do this Anime Idol thing. Because this was first season American Idol. So we're going to do this Anime Idol thing. And you're going to send me around the country, boss. And we're going to go to Boston, and we're going to go to Chicago, we're going to go to Dallas, we're going to go to Baltimore, whatever. And we're going to do regional, you know, anime things with voice acting. We're going to have these voice actors come up here, you know, wannabe voice actors and try their stuff. And then we're going to have the finals at the Big Apple Anime Fest, which was CPM's baby, you know, or John O'Donnell's baby. So, and he went for it. So I got sent to all these conventions that year. So it was like, you know, even though, you know, whatever, limited vacation days, it's like I got all this free travel and these free trips. And after doing that, I was like, wow, this is great. This is so much fun. You know, I think I need to do this more. And we had such a good time. And it's interesting because the girl who actually won that big national contest, she's in Pokemon now, and she plays Jessie, you know, which is interesting. So it was, and people always ask me at these things about how you get into the business. Let me just tell you, winning a contest is not really the way to get into the business. It did work for her, but hard work, that's the way to go. But yeah, so I started doing conventions, and again, all these other weird aspects of this job, you know, because still, even though that was my first real job, I still don't even feel like I've ever really had a real job. Because, you know, look what I work on. I work on, like, cartoons, animation, that kind of thing. It's fun. I come to places like this with toys. Anybody want a Pokemon puzzle? Yeah? Here, catch. There you go. So, you know, and you know, my career kept taking me other places. When I was, Central Park Media looked like maybe it was winding down, so I decided to go off on my own and have them send me their work externally, and I would dub all their stuff in English. When I founded my own company and started doing that. As soon as I did that, this company called 4Kids called me. And they're like, you have to come work for us. Now, a lot of you guys don't like 4Kids. But when you have a mortgage and children, oh my God, that was the greatest thing ever. Because they came to me and they were like, with the dump truck of money, and they're sort of like, dumping out. And they're like, is this enough? Is this enough? I'm like, yes, it's fine. So, but like, that company. Now, you guys, are you people who hate 4Kids? Or do you not care? It depends on the show. Okay, so like what don't you like? Why? Why do you think One Piece is like that? Well, why do you think, anything that you put on TV in this country, especially anything you put on national network TV, like One Piece was, goes through the FCC. That's the government. And they're going to tell you, yes, you can do this. No, you cannot do that. There's designated time blocks of TV during the day that are designated children's programming time. Okay? You cannot have people smoke during children's programming hours. You cannot have people drink alcohol during children's programming hours. You cannot have excessive violence. So then they're forced to edit some things. No company would ever spend a dime editing things that they didn't have to. Also, there's a runtime issue, just so you know. Shows in Japan generally tend to run 1 to 2 minutes longer than shows in the United States. So if you put something on national network, automatically things get clipped. Very often the opening and closing credits are much faster in the United States because that's the easiest place to cut. But if you go to cable, you cut a little less. National network's a 3-act format. So if you watch something on Fox or on CW or whatever, it's a 3-act format, which means, you have your opening, you have your first act of the program, commercial break. Second act of the program, commercial break. Final act and credits. On cable, where Pokemon is now, that's on Cartoon Network, that's a 2-act format, which is like Japan, where you have first half, break, second half. It's just a little shorter. And on Pokemon, they'll save the time on your opening and closing credits are just much shorter in English. What's up? Oh, Himiko. The Legend of Himiko. Himiko Den. How did I like working on that? You know what? I had a really good time working on Legend of Himiko. But apparently nobody had a really good time watching it. Legend of Himiko was a show we did at Central Park Media. It's a 12-episode series, and it's based on one of those dating simulators, which are weird, okay? But the thing that was fun about Legend of Himiko is because there's so many different distinct female types, all the different female archetype characters in that. It was like every awesome New York female voice actor was in that. All of them at once. That was a lot of fun. And the special feature on there were Ross, who is like my little sidekick at Central Park Media. We did a dating simulator thing with Ross, and Ross was an instant comedy, man. The guy weighs like 13 pounds. He's this funny looking dude. And he has no shame. That is his mutant power. He's the man with no shame, so he'll do anything. But we had him, we had a dating simulator with him and a bunch of the voice actors, men and women. And it's like, he'd sit down with them in a restaurant, and they'd start talking, and then it'd be like, what should Ross say next? And you pick a thing, and if you pick the right thing, the interview keeps going. If you pick the wrong thing, something terrible happens. So there's one with I think it was with Lisa Ortiz, who's a great voice actor, where if you pick the wrong thing, she kills him every time. Something would be poison. There's another one, there was a guy named James Wolfe, who would just get up and beat the crap out of Ross if you got the wrong answer. So that was one of those things of really being able to be kind of creatively expressive. That was fun. But what I want to get back to with the 4Kids stuff